we have you all in the swamp here, having freshly killed the scarecrows. You are now more or less on your own. It is approximately the middle of the day here. It is Egyadik the 20th at noon. What would you all like to do?
Well, for the first part, till we get rolling, Circus, I'm going to follow your lead since, you know, you're kind of more in the moment, and then I'll pick up as we go.
Yes, I'm not sure we'll have the opportunity to gather ourselves. We appear to be within the belly of the beast now, but I that battle took quite a bit out of me. I I'm okay to keep moving on, but we really need to look for a place to rest just for a moment.
Okay,
So is that your general intention? Look for a place to take a short rest.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely continue on, but like try to find somewhere where we can like some cover or something where we can kind of like hunker down for a couple minutes.
Roll a
what,
survival.
what time of day is it, if I may ask?
Middle of the day. So in this general area where you guys have fought the Scarecrow, you do see a location that seems to be sheltered enough that it will give you at least some prospect for a safe place to shelter. And you've killed Scarecrow in this area, so you're pretty sure that you're at least safe from more Scarecrow at this immediate moment.
Lee, what is your current condition? If I could just meditate, perhaps you could look out for a few minutes. Are you healthy?
Sure, I'm right as rain. I can do watch if you need a full long rest.
Okay, so Sark is gonna like just kind of set his staff down for a minute and just go like Indian style and start to meditate for a minute, and then like he'll start doing like some air like karate chops and stuff like that, and then like reach out and sort of like grab from the atmosphere like a kind of green glow, and then just sort of like put his hands on his chest, and you'll notice his wounds like start to heal up, and I will do healing hand or hand of healing on myself.
Is that in preparation to do a short rest, or is this to avoid short resting?
Oh no, in preparation because I get my key points back, and then I wouldn't have to use my hit dice. So I'm just trying to like use up my last couple renewable
Gotcha.
resources.
What can you do for key?
So after I do that for a minute, I will come over to Key, and then I'll just start saying a couple of words or whatever, and then I will like reach out to her wounds, and you'll see like that same kind of like green glowing light, and I will do hand of healing on her as well.
Where she's bloodied, so depending on what you're working with, I think both of you were about bloodied condition.
Yeah, I was bloody too, and I used everything but two of my key points, so I can only do each of us once. But I'm about to roll for her.
And is your other healing, is your cure wounds, is that once per long rest?
Yep, that's it for me. I used everything. So I'm gonna use a whenever we have the opportunity for the actual short rest, I'm gonna do hit dice also.
So Flea, roll a perception. You can take advantage with it, as Aragal will stand watch with you. So over the next hour, you all don't really see too many signs of anything kind of happening in the forest. The forest itself, there's plenty of noises about you. It is not a silent place. There's plenty of bugs that make you feel it's actually lively at very least. But in the long run, you all are in a little sheltered bit of a hollow, and more or less have three sides of your personage kind of blocked off, where you're kind of up against a wall and in a pretty well defensible position. And it seems like it's safe enough. And an hour progresses by where you don't have any interruptions. So we can take a short rest. If you burn hit dice, you can use a extra d6 for Song of Rest. As Kavi is going to do, I think, probably 2 hit dice. Yeah, so Kavi will regain 14, and she'll be up to 30 of 38.
Cool. I'm back to full now as well.
All right, and make sure while you do that to actually reset the short rest so you get all of those features back as well. But otherwise, you all can progress forward as you start to leave this little area. As you start to wander out of that little hiding spot, gaining a little bit more of a thorough view on the area where you had just fought the Scarecrow not long ago, you do see that there seem to be standing people in this part of the swamp. They're not moving, but they seem to just be standing around.
I see some figures up ahead. I'm not sure. I want to do a quick dialogue with Flea actually. Like maybe like while we're still at a distance before they would notice us. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you there. Just kind of like as we're wrapping up the short rest, maybe before we notice those figures, I guess. Uh, Lee, I have a gift for you. It's not much, just something I've been working on in my spare time. It's it's not much, but hopefully you can put it to use. And he'll like reach down into his like leather little front pouch and pull out like a small kind of like leather piece that he's been working on with a couple of straps. And I can't think what the name of it is, but it's meant for you to put on like the inside of your wrists so that like the bowstring like arrow doesn't rub up against you.
Thank
It
you, good sir. Thank you.
Of course. I, it's pretty common and not much really, but hopefully it will help you stop the string or the quills from the arrow rubbing on you, make you a better shot.
Yeah, if you get stung, it really does sting. So thank you, sir. A very nice name, Gate. Take it.
Of course, my friend. And you'll notice that there's like a little bit of like kind of like fancy little embroidering around like the edges of it and everything. And then Sarkis also is going to mention one more thing to you. I don't have a ton of battlefield experience. Most of it is, well, all of it is with you and Kavi and Jape. But along the ways, lots of knowledge was passed along, and the monastery, many of us trained, and some were even proficient in, well, the archaeotop like yourself. And there's one thing that's been resonating with me, an ability that you have, whether you know you have it or not. Uh, you can use your skills to, well, to do things that others aren't capable of. And basically, what he's going to say to you is just something I noticed that you haven't been doing, but you can do as a rogue. You can always use your bonus action to disengage from combat, um, so that you don't have to take the disadvantage to shoot at people. So if somebody like engages you, you could always bonus action disengage and then shoot without taking disadvantage.
Thank you, good sir.
Yeah, for sure, man. I've never actually played a rogue before, but it was something that I was like, man, I swear Flea's missing out on something here. And I think you can hide or dash as well for your bonus action. So
Yeah, it's your cunning action.
Yeah, I was looking into those.
well, perfect. That should make you like much better because you'll always be able to step out of combat without taking that opportunity attack, and you'll never have to take disadvantage with your bow as long as you do that. So, but yeah, that's all I want to do. Just give him like the little leather arm guard and mention that.
Thank you, good sir. Thank you. I will use it. And think of you.
Of course, my friend. It's the least I could do. I'm always glad to present my friends with gifts, and since I don't have many friends, I can present each of you with many gifts. So,
Okay, so I take it we're proceeding in a general southward motion direction.
Well, again, so as you all head out of the little hide that you were in and get a more thorough view of the swamp that you've been in, you are going to see that there are creatures surrounding the area where you once killed those scarecrow. That while you had a safe rest, this area was aware of the activity on some level, and at present you basically see humanoids that are just pretty much standing still, but in that area of the actual battle. So what are your thoughts as that occurs?
Can I roll perception to tell if they're alive?
Um, you can roll a perception, see what you can see. As you look out across the forest, none of these things make you think that they're in particular living, but you see a lot of them.
Do they all
And lastly, after, do they all?
are they all the same species?
They all look humanoid, yes.
I wonder if we can try and sneak past them, go around.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
That or they know we're here, but they don't appear to have noticed us. So it's that, or we just try to get the jump on them from a distance.
I say let's avoid trouble for now. till we get our bearings and such.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we'll just try to like sneak.
Give me some stealth rolls. And you're moving to the south?
Yeah, that sounds good. Try to go southward around them. Stay like on path to where we're going, but try to avoid them as best we can.
Yep, works.
Yeah, I think that would be about a turn of trying to move past them stealthily. Do another set. I think probably you have at least like 2 more. So let me get another set from you. And let's do one final one. So you move beyond these creatures, kind of slowly creeping, constantly keeping an eye back. Don't seem to see any movement in the least bit.
Circuit. Keep moving quietly. Let's not give ourselves away.
I noticed there were some scarecrows, but what were the other things? Did they look human to you?
No, no, something, but not human.
I mean, without getting closer in dim light, you guys really can't make out anything other than they were all humanoid. They all had heads, arms, legs. That's kind of what you would work with on that.
So let's proceed quietly and not engage any more trouble than.
So this is a big old map. You all are essentially in the northeast quadrant. This is a massive map. I believe they are set to 55-foot squares.
It's just coming up as a black square for me at this point.
Look in the northeast.
Gotcha. My other east.
So as you all kind of move down, progressing through this swamp, and as things get more and more entrenched in the swamp itself, you eventually come across what seems to have once been a trail. And it's more or less kind of reforming in this area. The river is still close by. You can hear the trickle of the stream to your southeast. It is probably in general beyond your view. Again, it is never light out in Barovia, so you guys are essentially in permanent dusk conditions. And that trail, what you guys can see is the humans playing this game, is still about, what is that, like 250 feet from the river. So you can hear signs of water moving to your southeast, but more or less you now have some level of trail ahead of you, and it is starting to turn to the southwest.
We should follow the trail. I can hear water in the distance. Should, I can't see anything. Should we light a torch?
That's your call, but with as many unfriendlies, I don't know. I just don't know.
No doubt it will draw them to us, but I they'll probably detect our presence regardless, and at least then we could see. So I'm gonna go ahead and light a torch.
So that will give you a more thorough view of this swamp and forest ahead of you. In general, you're still in a lot of brush. There is a constant sign of this once was perhaps much more than simply a trail, but it has been like beaten back where there's still no like actual trees growing in the trail itself. But overall, you're kind of really just going to at that point, um, essentially like if you all, let's drop Aragal as your actual counter. If you guys are like in that square, you can basically see that square, and then you'd have like dim light kind of almost to the edges of the square. That's kind of the size of this map and the light that the torch kind of offers.
Yeah, you were saying 55 foot a square, something like that.
Yep, 50-foot squares. So what do you all have in mind as progression forward? You know that on some level, the river is an option to follow. You have this trail ahead of you that is a potential to follow, and more or less, in general, you know that there's something down here along the River Luna where it becomes this swamp, which you are walking into, that you expect to find Baba Lysaga.
I'm kind of liking the idea of the river.
Oh, what was the last thing, Al? You're liking what?
I'm liking the idea follow the river.
It's not a bad idea. I imagine that anything alive would need to be near a water source, a clean running water source. So I it doesn't sound like it's far off. Should we make our way there and follow it down?
Absolutely. Hey guys,
So,
it's my birthday tonight. So Sarkis, if you could take the lead for the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna have dinner.
happy birthday.
Oh, happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
homie.
Yeah, that's why I said naming day gift. Be back.
Yeah, I mean, so if you want to lead forward, you are more than welcome to. Um, it's kind of up to you at that point whether we want to just take a break for Al or if you want to lead forward.
Move forward. I'm listening. I'll just let Sarkis lead.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so I guess we'll just keep progressing forward, like cautiously, gonna try to make our way towards like the running water.
So you can eventually make your way towards the water. The river is essentially at like a trickle kind of sorts. From what you can understand, it's essentially like pretty wide, probably about like 200 feet wide. It's like expanding out into this swamp in this area here. But overall, you have like kind of the edge of the river here. As you progress forward and get closer to things, you will eventually pick up that pretty much in every direction that you're moving around here, there are humanoids that are just standing still, just upright and unmoving.
Stealth mode.
We snuck past quite a few of them, but eventually we're gonna have to make our stand.
Well, I'd rather maybe the farther we go, there will be less. I truly don't.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just try to keep sneaking by as best we can.
All right, go for another round of stealth. So you can continue to kind of follow this edge of the river. Things are mucky, they're difficult. There are creatures around every few hundred feet or so, from what you can tell. None of them seem to be moving, but overall, this seems to be a inactively active place. There's something about these creatures and their lack of movement that would definitely put you on edge, and at the same time, you're moving past them without any difficulty.
Does the frequency seem to be picking up or maintaining or what?
Roll an insight check. Over the last hour, it's probably picking up. Um, any given few minutes, it seems pretty consistent. But you're kind of like right between that area of whether you think you're walking into more of them or whether this is just where they are.
Maybe we should try and find just a couple of them isolated and take them out so we could get a better look at least what we're dealing with.
if you want to find an isolated one, I'll back you up, but I would rather not do it.
Well, we can wait until the opportunity presents itself, but I think it's better to know your enemy as best you can, and there's something creepy about the mystery of it.
I completely agree.
All right, so we'll keep moving towards the river, and if we see like a smaller group of them, like not like 10 of them, like 3 or whatever, uh, try to like maybe see what the deal is, maybe fight them, whatever.
Roll an investigation. I guess I don't even know. Yeah, do an investigation. Yeah, so you feel like you've got a group that's about 3 or 4 of them.
Okay. And like, how far away are we talking at this point in time?
About 60 feet, edge of your view.
There's just a few of them ahead. I can try to get a little closer, and you could keep a distance, or we can try to sneak up on them. Pounce.
Or my bow.
You think you could take one out from here?
Surely.
You could thin the flock a little on their way, and we could get a better idea what we're dealing with, how fast they move, what they are. Do you want me to do some form of distraction, or can you just take a shot and try to stay unnoticed?
I prefer the whole unnoticed thing. So how about we try with the bow and see what.
Yeah, so I could like stay kind of up towards the front if they start coming towards us, but let Al try to like pick a couple of them off. Maybe I'll like hide in a bush or like behind a tree or something.
Works for me.
Roll a stealth check. Just Sarkis. And then Lee can take a shot with his bow at disadvantage. And roll a separate d20 for me, Flea. Oh, never mind. My bad. It's not actually on that attack.
Well, that's good.
So Flea releases an arrow. It crosses the gap between you all, and as it sticks into this humanoid creature, it is going to start to move. And I need you guys to roll initiative.
Do we need to drop tokens or no?
I'm just moving you back to that same board. So, Flea, one arrow is flown. What would you like to do?
Send another.
Roll another. Disadvantage still? Oh, shit. You can't sneak attack if you have disadvantage. Another solid hit. Sarkis, Flea has dropped 2 arrows into this creature. What would you like to do?
And you said it's like slowly moving towards us?
Right now, you've seen nothing. It's effectively, at this point, it's like looked at him.
Oh, okay. I will. And are we on like normal 5-foot squares now, but difficult
Yep.
terrain?
That is correct.
Okay, I will just I'll shoot a dart at that same one.
I feel like dart range is disadvantage at 60 feet. Regardless, at this range with the dim light and everything, it's going to be disadvantage.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's over 20 disadvantage.
Solid hit.
And then I'll just like hang tight right there, I guess.
And it's all the way back around to Flea.
Any movement from the other guys?
At present, you see the movement that you guys see. You can roll an insight check if you'd like to insight to figure out what's going on. Was it you got a +8 insight?
Yep.
Yeah, so a 20. These things are not tactical creatures. They are things that just exist. And perhaps by attacking them, you've activated some sense of whatever their mission or job is, their reason to exist.
So we can see one moving, and that's about it. It seems to be non-logical. I think that turns it over to Sarkis, right? Or the attacker, sorry.
Yeah, so where one of these is lumbering forward with a smooth but like broken gait, this other one is moving forward with a shaky, abnormal walk. There's nothing natural about how one of these creatures is moving towards you. And as it gets closer to you, Sarkis, you would see as its eyes glow red, and it seems to stop near the other creature, and it seems to be staring in your direction. And with that, it's going to go to Sarkis.
And is that the Scarecrow? What I would recognize as a Scarecrow, or it's still too far to even notice?
You could do an insight check, but it's at this point it's too far. You have a reasonable understanding that this is a scarecrow, as the eyes are probably its glare.
Okay, I got you. I will just say to the party, careful, it looks like another one of the scarecrows. Don't look into its eyes. And I will move forward.
So once you move a little bit forward, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw at advantage, as its eyes just glare into you, and you are going to freeze. As you become paralyzed.
Oh, so that just ends my turn, right?
Yep. It's going to go all the way back around to Fleet.
It is like
Yeah. Which one did I shoot at? The one with the that's more shambling and kind of not looking as well, or the one with the smoother gate?
Smoother Gate, the one on the south right now.
Let's give him another hole.
This is just going to be a straight shot. Pretty sure you can't actually miss it. Solid hit. And I think that is going to end it. As it falls over and seems to cease to move.
Sarkis. I'm going to try to give Sarkis a little bit of a shake if I can.
As you move Sarkis, he is motionless.
Come on, buddy, wake up. I'll kick him in the shin.
Roll a d4.
Right. Sorry, dude.
The
At least I
Scarecrow
didn't
is
kick
going
him.
to try to gaze into your eyes again, Sarkis, to try to continue your paralyzation. Roll another wisdom at advantage.
Oh, did I take 2 damage right there?
Yeah, you will take damage from him kicking you.
Okay, cool, cool. Oh, you're good, man. And then wisdom saving throw.
Yep, so it's going to continue again through this turn. And it's all the way back around to Flea.
Putting an arrow in the other one.
Which other one? The close one? The one
Yes,
with the
sir.
bright eyes?
Yep. Not looking in the eye. Aiming for the
Disadvantage. It's going to make it up to Sarkis this time, as it is going to swing out at him with its claws. Each one of these will be at advantage with a crit. And then a 13, I think, is a miss.
Yeah, second one misses.
And then it's going to do 10 slashing damage. And then another. See, this frightened is different. This is another DC 11 wisdom, and this is just to be frightened. It's not also the paralyzed. Oh, we're already rolled it. Yep, that's good. So that is going to expire on its turn, and you are in a normal condition otherwise at the start of your turn.
Okay, I'm going to just sort of like drop my walking stick on the ground next to me, and then I'm gonna go for some melee ninja shit against him. So like midget melee ninja moves.
Solid hits. 15. Still under. It's still like looking fine.
And then I'm gonna do a flurry of blows, and the second blow I'll use hand of healing for on myself.
That's gonna bloody it. Or not really bloody it. You're gonna see as like puffs of crow feathers are flying out as just 1, 2, 3. You're punching through this creature.
Oh, that's it for my turn. I don't know if I said anything.
And it's back around to flee.
Where your family
Yep.
is.
It needs another. I'm gonna put an arrow.
The shot is going to seem to hit the creature and fly straight through. Doesn't seem to have any effect.
Okay, well, had to come sometime.
I said that poorly. That needs to just be a miss. Just kind of going past the creature. It shouldn't reference anything about not affecting it. Then it's gonna go to it. It's going to glare at you again, Sarkis, for a wisdom saving throw at advantage. And then it will be on you.
Okay, I'm just gonna unarmed strike it a couple times.
Solid hits. Leaving it rather featherless, but it's near death.
Bonus action, one more strike at it.
And that's going to destroy it.
And then I'll just pick up my staff and I'm done.
And it'll be on to flee.
Okay, it looks like another one has moved in closer. I am going to put an arrow in it.
It's just a straight shot. That's a big ol' hit. Gonna do 6 damage. Gonna go to Sarkis.
So I'll just move up to it. When I get close to it, can I tell anything more about it? Like, does it appear to be like undead or like living or like anything?
Do a perception. As you get closer to this creature, it seems to be a human. It's definitely undead. It is kind of coated with like a bloated flesh that has like almost like seaweed's not the actual right word for it, but like the green kind of slime that grows on stagnant water, kind of growing from like parts of its flesh. But it's very much a bloated human. The way these things are moving and moving forward, there's something similar to what is commonly referred to as zombies.
Don't say the Z word. And I will attack it. This is the first time we've encountered them, so I don't know anything about them. So I'm just hitting it with my stick normal.
Roll a d20, 2d20. So the first hit, solid hit to the thigh, and you just clean take the leg off. Second hit is a hit to one of its arms, and you just clean take an arm off.
But it is still standing.
It is indeed.
So I'm just gonna unarmed strike it one more time.
Tarkus, finish it off quick. Let's get out of here. I don't want to have any more of these things engaged.
And with that final strike, it's going to fall over, and you'll see as the other limbs go limp as well.
Nice work, Sarkis. Let's get out of here.
There's more.
Yeah, I'm hoping if we move away, they ignore us.
So, Tom Flea, are you moving away?
Can I see any others to engage?
Yep, there's two more moving towards you all.
Okay, I'll go for the southerlymost one.
Solid hit. And what are you doing, Sarkis?
I shot that first one with a dart, so I'm gonna try to get that dart back if I can.
I feel like that's the one that is dead outside of the light radius of your torch.
Oh, okay. It's not the one directly in front of me. Okay. I will move up then. So that's as far as I can get in difficult terrain. So I will run up there. Is it going to take my action to try to get the dart, or like bonus action or free action?
You can do that with the free action.
Okay, I'm going to try to grab my dart, and then I'll just shoot a dart at the next one.
So, assuming the southern one that's right next to you.
Yeah, just the closest one. So I just like pull out my blow gun and just.
Both darts will sink into it, leaving it watery. Both of these creatures are going to close in on you, and they're each going to take 3 swipes at you. So let's see. These are claws first. 1, 2, and then they're going to try to bite. So one of the claws at a 15, I think that's a big ol' miss for you. And
Yes,
then the
that-
next one is going to claw, and bite. And I think a claw and the bite, 17 is your AC.
Yep, 17. That's correct.
So the claw will be for 2 damage of slashing, and then the bite is going to do 5 piercing damage as it latches down onto you. And on back to Flea.
Flea is going to put an arrow into him and then start to move to give Sarkis some close support. How many squares can I move in current conditions?
Half movement, so you should be limited to 3. You could bonus action another 3, though. And it's on to you,
Keeps
Sarkis.
messing up, so I'll move here in a second.
Same thing. I'm gonna try to grab one of the darts back, and then I'm just gonna melee the one in front of me with my stick, 2-handed staff attack.
Two solid strikes, roll 2d20. So you knock each of its arms off.
Then I'm just gonna try to like jump up and headbutt it with the unarmed strike.
Solid hit. And as you headbutt, it's the arms that are crawling across the ground. Go limp, and the body falls over.
Since both those darts are hits, am I able to get both of them back from this body or just one?
Yeah, you can grab them both.
Okay, cool. I think that's all of them. I don't see anyone else. Should we keep moving?
Yeah, let's get out of here. I don't want to chance any more of it. If we get too many of them in close quarters, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to isolate a couple and get an idea what we were dealing with. It appeared like they had some sort of ability to stay alive even after we hurt them. And for a moment there, I thought that thing's arms were going to attack me, even severed from the body.
Yeah, it looked like they were moving.
should we keep moving along the river?
Yes, yes.
So as you all explore over the next little bits, you still continue to come across these creatures. They are sporadically throughout this actual swampland. They're easy enough to avoid. You see that even when they are active, they all move at pretty extremely slow paces. There's a certain level of the further you move through without taking care of them, the more you have behind you. And perhaps that is creating something that will swarm you to keep in mind. Otherwise, you also have the fact that you more or less have an idea of what you're dealing with now. So you've got those kind of things to keep in mind with. But you're moving deeper into the swampland, progressing forward with the river close at hand. You have different areas coming up here where it seems like you might actually have almost a natural kind of land bridge down further to the south that seems to lead across where you're at. The muck is deeper here, but it seems like the stream is almost trickling through this area rather than being like a kind of traditional river at this point. But other than that, you can kind of move southeast, or you can progress forward with kind of like a southwesterly direction. It's rather up to you at that point.
Okay, so now we know we essentially have a slow moving, shambling horde behind us.
Yeah,
I see a
so
few
we should keep moving and maybe periodically try to thin the herd from a distance.
Yes, definitely from a distance.
I only have about a dozen darts, and I'm not sure they're even that effective against those things. But how about you on arrows? Are you still good?
I'm still decent, but I don't think we have any other choice because flame isn't going to do anything. Or at least I don't think it will.
So should we just keep pressing forward?
Let's press on.
And should we go to the south or try to veer off here?
But if we veer off the land bridge, they're just going to follow us. The question is, will they cross open water?
I don't know. I'm not even sure they're alive, so they might be able to just walk through the water no matter how deep it is.
Yes, I don't know. Let's just keep moving then.
The decision before you guys, though, is where you are trying to move to. You have the southeast, the south, or southwest, or you can go like west, northwest. The land bridge is part of the decision that I need you to make a choice on because you are presented with something new.
Yeah, I think that's what we're saying. There's no reason to try to go through the water because they can walk through the water potentially because they don't have to breathe. So the land bridge.
I agree.
So, as you all start to cross over this open water section, there's another moment where all of a sudden you notice that some of these creatures are actually in the water itself, and you're basically like bumping into them. And it just seems like one of these creatures just rises up out of the water directly in front.
Hold on, I thought we were taking the land break.
You are indeed, yes.
Okay.
So as one of these creatures kind of rises up out of the water, it is going to swipe at, let's see. It's going to swipe at Kavi. With a single hit. No, two of those are hits. She's AC 13. And it's going to do a total of 7 damage to her. And there's another one of these zombies rising out of the water. What would you two like to do?
I'll go for the closest one and just melee it.
Yeah, at present right now, there's just the one.
I'll go for the other one that's still emerging with the short bow.
Still just one. So, short bow and staves make those attacks. Was that unarmed strike from the previous attack? Like yours started at the quarterstaff 22-26, Justin?
Yeah, I clicked quarterstaff twice, but it only went once. So I did quarterstaff, unarmed strike, quarterstaff, but it's attack bonus action.
Yeah, I got you. No, it just split you with Flea. I just wanted to make sure that the previous unarmed strike was previous. So yeah, 9, 21, 27. Yeah, what was that? 42, 50 damage. Yeah, so as this thing rises up and just swipes into and bites down on Kavi, the two of you in a quick succession are able to pierce it and bludgeon it to pieces as you roll 3 d20s for me, Starkus. So you knock off a leg with the first attack, you knock off its head with the second attack, and it's still biting onto her. It's still moving until I think Flea's arrow sinks in, and the creature's whole body just starts to go limp at once and just falls back into the water.
Javi, are you okay? Did she look bloodied?
At present, she's still doing fine.
All right, I'll hold off for now, but if you need me, don't hesitate to ask.
Okay, moving on.
Let me get perception checks from you all. All at disadvantage. As you are crossing the river about halfway through, the muck is starting to pick up to where it's like 3 or 4 feet deep. It's pretty harsh to kind of walk through at this point. Sarkis, you're almost like floating on top of it, kind of swimming with your staff ahead of you to kind of disperse your weight so you don't like sink too deeply into it. But you all start to notice to the south of you, probably about 200 feet. About 500 feet to the south of you. Wow, that's a lot farther than I thought. You start to see just little blinks of light. They seem to have. Let me get insight checks from both of you now that you can actually see them. They seem to have some sort of a pattern to them. It's not simply just like a spark of light. It seems to be some sort of conscious light that's flashing towards you.
I can't tell what it is, but there's some sort of pattern to it. It's something alive or some semblance of alive.
Can we see what color the blinks are?
From that distance, I don't think you could distinguish like a particular color, but it's not like something abnormal. It's not like red or blue light. It's pretty much what you would expect from some sort of like white or yellow light.
Okay, thank you.
As it gets closer, we should try to find some solid ground in case we need to battle. I don't want to do it in a river or this area.
Absolutely. Let's keep moving.
So as you all continue across and starting to get out of the like worst part of this mire and onto sort of a little bit more of like a peaty, actually like dry moss, you are going to see as another of one of these creatures rises up out of the ground and is going to swipe at Aragal. And I think this time we'll actually have you all roll initiative. All right, so as it swipes out at him, the two swipes from it, each of those are going to hit, and then the bite. So it's going to drop 3 into him. It's going to do 14, 17 damage to him.
Yeah.
And is this another one of the zombies, or is this one of the things that was emitting light?
Another zombie rising up. But in response to this, you're going to see as another creature from off in the distance, emitting light from its eyes, is going to close in on you all. It is about 20 feet away to the southeast of you.
And
So, right.
once it gets like within 20 feet, are we able to make out what it is? Is it something we recognize or is it something foreign?
Oh, for what it's worth at this point, you guys are pretty sure Aragal stepped on a zombie and woke it up. And it seems like this creature from the other side of the actual river is another one of the Scarecrow. So you essentially have a zombie like inside of your party, and then you've got a Scarecrow moving at you all from the southeast, about 20 feet away from the closest person right now. And it's going to go to flee.
Arrow in the Scarecrow. Sarkis.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I heard you start saying my name, but I didn't actually hear what you said.
Sarkis. Help him. I'll deal with the Scarecrow.
So he is going to shoot into the Scarecrow as it goes wide. It is going to move forward and flee. I need you to make a Wisdom saving throw, DC 11, as the Scarecrow stares into your eyes. And then it is going to go to Sarkis.
Argo, I've got your back. I'm gonna run up and could I tell any difference between when I hit it with my staff against them or my melee, or no?
Them being the zombie?
Zombies. Yeah, I know you said there was like a difference when I attacked scarecrows, but
No, not for the zombies. All of your attacks seem to be taking off of limbs. Like, there's nothing holding these zombies together. Every bit of bludgeoning damage that you've done was removing limbs from them.
okay, so I'll do 2 attacks on them. And then is he looking bloodied at this point in time?
At that point, nope. But I do
Okay.
need you to roll 2 d20s.
Okay.
So right now it is just a torso. You've removed both of the legs.
Oh, sorry. When I said is he looking bloodied, I was referring to Argol.
Aragol also is not looking bloodied.
Okay, okay. So then I'm just gonna do unarmed strike against that same zombie.
That will make him look like a soupy mess, but he is still standing. Also another d20. That's going to take an arm.
Okay, and then I'm gonna try to close the distance and get between Flea and the Scarecrow. I have 40 feet total movement for that turn, so
Shouldn't be a problem. You would more or less be closing into the Scarecrow because it's like 5 feet away from Flea. So you're literally right between Flea and the Scarecrow at that point, pretty much.
okay, perfect. I'll just like interpose myself or whatever in between the two of them, and then try to like have its attention on me, obviously. So, and then that's it.
The Zed is then going to take 3 more swipes, 2 swipes and a bite at Aragol, with a single swipe actually cutting through his leather armor. It's going to do 3 more points of damage to him. And then it's going to go around to Flea.
Yeah, arrow time again.
Into?
The one that I was working, that I shot before.
The Scarecrow?
Yes, sir.
It is going to go wide as you try to avoid shooting into Sarkis. You just put it a little bit too high and it seems to like reflect off of the creature. That arrow is going to be gone.
Yep.
And then the Scarecrow. Yeah, I think it's going to go for Sarkis. Wisdom saving throw at advantage. And then it's going to be on you, Sarkis.
Okay, I'm just gonna attack the Scarecrow and double-handed staff attack.
Roll an intelligence check. You know your staff is not as effective against the Scarecrow as your hand.
Yeah, I know that too. I'm gonna still use that quarterstaff attack, just because, like in the moment, I forgot. So I feel like that's an accurate reason. And then
Gotcha.
I'll unarmed strike for my second attack, and then unarmed strike for my bonus action.
Yeah, so massive amounts of raven feathers are flying out of this thing. Very quickly, as you reach your staff into it, you notice how the staff does next to nothing to it. And the moment you punch into it, you can feel that your key is actually reaching into this creature's essence. That it is, again, just to reinforce, it is a magical creature, and it's taking next to no damage from normal attacks. And then the Zed is going to again reach out at Aragal. Doing another 6 to him. And then it'll be back on fleet.
Okay, I'm going to shoot at the Zed.
Oh, I should stress that while this thing has no legs, the legs are still kind of like shambling about. While it's missing an arm, the arm is still like leaping out at Aragal.
Thank you, sir. Going for the torso.
What is this at?
Torso of the Zed.
Gotcha. Solid hit. And with that, it is going to kill it.
And when the body is dead, do the limbs follow suit?
Yeah, at this point, you all can recognize that those things, they have a shared animating principle. Let's see. The Scarecrow is going to be up next. I think it's just going to do the same as, again, it's going to glare out at Sarkis. Another wisdom saving throw at advantage. And then it'll be on you to finish it, Sarkis.
He's just gonna yell out, "I fear nothing when I'm in the right," and then just punch it.
Yeah, so with that final fist, it's just like a puff of feathers as this thing seems to dissipate into nothingness.
On Flea, just for reference too, you missed it last week, but I actually have advantage against being frightened. So I like have a resiliency to the scarecrows, which is pretty good.
Well, with that, and they really don't react well. They don't take much damage from non-magical attacks. Puts me at a disadvantage.
Yeah, for sure. And if they freeze you, they like I think gain advantage or auto hit or something, but they do a shitload of damage.
Yeah, effectively, they're looking for paralyze you and then attack. When it's one scarecrow, it's not a big deal, but when there's multiple scarecrows, their MO is basically to attack whatever is paralyzed.
Okay, let's keep moving.
Argo, are you okay? I saw that zombie on you for a minute.
I have been in worse conditions.
Okay, I have limited resources, but if you need any help, any healing, just a hand, let me know.
You are most kind, little. But please, at present, do not worry about my well-being. He's still not bloody.
Okay, cool. Glad to have you at our side. I'll keep my eyes on you, but it's obvious you can handle yourself. So are we noticing the lights still coming towards us, assuming those are more scarecrows?
You two can do more perception checks. And on some level, by the way, at this point, Aragol is your NPC. If you guys want to actually play him as a character, you are more than welcome to. It just means that I'm going to throw more stuff at you. As far as things go right now, I'm just pretending that there is more stuff, and effectively, Aragol and Kavi are fighting other shit instead of actually including them and me playing a whole bunch of characters. But you all have Aragol on your side if at any point you want to play another character.
Oh yeah, I sort of just figured you had them like battling other shit to keep it like relevant. But yeah, I'm totally cool with how you've been doing it. Just obviously if Kavi or Argo gets injured, to where they're hurt or down, just let me know.
Yeah, exactly. So looking over, you all do see those lights. They seem to be about the same distance as before. They don't seem to be the same as the scarecrows. They're definitely not eyes like the scarecrows are, that are lighting up as they start to glare at you. And in particular, you've never seen the scarecrows do that outside of when they are preparing to actually, like freeze you in fear. So that's something that is a close range thing to see out of the scarecrows. Um, but yeah, these lights seem to be still, what is it? I think you're still about like 450, 500 feet away from them.
And can we tell, are the lights moving or could it potentially be like a camp or something?
Um, Probably can't tell a whole lot about whether it's a camp, but from your perspective, you're pretty sure they're probably also not moving because they seem to be in about the same location.
And is that in the direction we're going?
Well, on some level, again, you guys have kind of diverted from per se the same direction that you were going, but you are investigating a relatively similar spot here. At present, you guys have kind of basically moved along, and then you cross the river here. So you are kind of just across the river right now, from perhaps where you were going.
Those lights don't appear to be moving. They're still a way off. It could be a camp or something. Maybe we should try to work slowly in that direction. We can investigate this area. We already crossed the river, but it's worth keeping a note of.
Yes, that sounds good.
So moving forward to investigate the light.
Yeah, I think sort of creeping towards the light if we don't see anything around this area that's necessarily like notable or worth looking for. I think at this point in time, we've only really seen like the scarecrows and the zombies. So I'm gonna kind of be looking for anything that looks like it would be like a living creature or like path, like like footsteps or something like that that don't just like zombie drag marks.
Oh, you can roll an investigation.
I mean, I'm obviously not going to find anything, but
Yeah, from what you can tell, like looking through as you all walk on, there doesn't seem to be any activity in these areas. You don't really gain a sign of when the last kind of civilization was here. You don't really see anything about when the last living creatures have come through. Any signs that you might have of zombies moving through these areas is kind of lost on just the actual muck and mire of the swamp. Um, Even from your own footsteps, you all make a little bit of a mark behind you, but you can tell that given even a few days, the level of like liquid that permeates this earth, it's going to be lost. So it doesn't surprise you that you're not necessarily seeing much of anything. And then over like months and years, the actual growth of like life, like lichens and stuff, just even further clouds anything that's been there. But you're not seeing anything that even remotely looks like recent tracks.
Cool.
So more or less, you all are following like the now kind of western side of the trees, and moving forward. You're still seeing that same light from more or less like perfectly south, a little bit southwest of you, and more or less moving that direction, and seem to be on like spongy ground. The earth is still swampy, but it's not like the same kind of like land crossing almost that you move through the actual river itself. Still just moving towards the light.
Yeah, I think so. Just keep moving towards the light.
So as you all continue on towards the south, you start to see another light to the southwest of you. And you check your bearings. You feel like the light that you've been moving towards is directly south of you, but you see the same light blinking to the southwest. And it's difficult to tell what's going on, but there seems to be a mirror of the light now, and it's blinking to the southwest.
So essentially, the only way we don't see lights is to the east and southeast. Is that correct?
Well, you see two different lights, so I wouldn't say the only way, but you see a light to the south where you expect it to be, and then you see another light that's to the southeast.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And what's the distance roughly to either or both?
Each of them are at right about like 200 feet right now.
We should stay the course. Keep moving towards the first one.
Let's go. Lee wants to turn around and look behind him to see what we have coming behind us.
Make a perception. Doesn't seem to be anything behind you.
Moving on.
I forgot that I should have included Jape on some of those random rolls.
Is this 50-foot square size?
Nope, these are back to small squares. So as you all get closer and closer, you eventually start to see this light is blinking inside of a ring of cairnstones, until eventually you see as the light is more or less shuttered, and you see inside of the glow, about 50 or so feet away from you all, is the face of Muriel. And she is standing within this area, and she is signaling you all to move across.
We will be right there.
The face of Muriel?
Yep, she's one of the keepers of the feather.
Wait, is that one of the daughters of the Valakais? I mean,
The
Marticov?
Marticoves. Not one of the daughters, but it is one of the people who is associated with the Marticoves. She's the person. She's the person who kind of intercepted you all the last time you came in this direction.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start moving towards her. Is she, can we tell, is she like in person form, or is she, I guess you said her face, yeah, so.
Yep, at present she's in a humanoid form. So as you all get closer, essentially like within an actual speaking distance, she will actually welcome you all. Hello, friends. Welcome to the swamp. And from within the stones, she'll say, "Welcome to the swamp of Perez, the Forgotten Lands." And she'll kind of usher you all forth and into the stones.
What is this place? What are these stones?
This is the shrine to the Weaver, one of the Fanes of Barovia. This is the Swamp Fane.
It's good to see a friendly face. Have you been here the whole time, or following us, ahead of us?
My mission has always been to keep an eye on Baba Lysaga. And among those things, yes, I did spot you wandering through the swamp itself.
Are we close to her? Does she know we're here?
None of the scarecrows activate without her knowing. So, more than likely, he knows you're here.
And where does she fit in this whole place? We've heard her referred to as the Devil's Mother, but is she one of the Fanes?
It may be speculated that perhaps she is a Fane. She's old enough. But if there's any truth to it, she's little more than Strahd's wet nurse.
And what is the purpose of these stones? What do we need to do to activate them, or what?
If we are able to contact the Weaver, it would be through a ritual performed here. With her being removed from these lands, they offer protection. And that is why I tend to make my camp here and do what I can in watching from this location under her protection.
We saw another light not too far from here. Is it another set of the stones? Are they throughout the swamp?
No, no, no. This is one of 3 of the fanes of all of Barovia. If you saw another light, it was a will-o'-the-wisp trying to have you wander off to your death.
Well, I'm glad we stayed the course. What what are we to do here? What do we need to do to activate these stones? And do we need to do it before or after finding Baba Lysaga?
Don't believe these stones have any power to be activated. The Weaver has long since been removed from these lands, and she protects us now, but she doesn't live here any longer.
Ah, I see. So this is more of a sanctuary, but serves not much other purpose than that?
Long ago, the Druids worshipped her here. The native folk. They don't serve the old ways any longer. The dark gods long ago destroyed their gods, the Fanes.
What about this ritual you were speaking?
What are you asking about?
Was there some kind of ritual to summon the Fade?
The Fanes have long ago been removed from these lands. They're gone. The dark gods are all that remains. Some say they still haunt the Amber Temple, but there's little more than Strahd and the evil of this place.
What
What
time of
is
day is it?
What was your question?
What time of day is it? I get the feeling it should be coming to evening.
It's probably about 2 p.m.
Oh, okay, midday. Still.
what is the Amber Temple you referred to? What where is it? What is it?
It's an ancient place. The Druids, they used to worship to the south beyond Selenka Pass. The Amber Temple is the oldest of all the shrines of this land. Some say older than the Fanes, but others believe that nature was here before the temple.
Is that different than the floating city?
She looks over at you. You've been to Yester Hill?
Of course. That's where we fought the tree spirit golem thing and destroyed it. Where they destroyed the zone and freed the seeker.
The Seeker has returned? What stone?
Of course, the Seeker has returned. Madame Ava, the Vistani, we freed her. Have you not talked to, sorry, hang on.
I don't think you guys told the Marticov.
Oh, shit, okay. I thought we told Davian, or we meant to, but now that I think back, maybe we never had the chance. But yes, we destroyed the stone, the red stone, the Seeker. She's free.
It's had the ruby?
Yes, we fought the giant tree construct, and it defeated us. But the druids, they spared our lives, and when we spoke to them and about the prophecy and the reading, they they helped us. They destroyed the creature and destroyed the stone. And Madame Ava came back in her final form, Ascension. She, one of the stones, one of the shit. What are their names again?
The Fanes, the ladies three.
One of the Fanes is freed.
This is news indeed. If she was within the ruby, then the emerald needs to be brought here. And the sapphire to the windmill. And our family will never grow wine again. But if you can free the Fanes and return them, this land may have hope. And it won't be a false hope of drink. And you can tell she's visibly distraught right now. You've basically told this person that their entire reason for existing for ages, their known history, is basically imprisoning like the good gods that used to rule over this land.
Yes, it's all coming together now. We didn't understand it either. It wasn't until we befriended the druids at Yesterhill, and they opened our eyes. It's all been a trick. The Fey gods, the Fanes, they're the good spirits. They've been trapped this whole time within the stones. That's where they derive their power. We have to free them. We have to. We can change these lands, restore them. Where's the emerald? Does Baba Lysaga have it?
The emerald was the most recent stone that had been taken right before the ruby, which you took. I said that wrong. The most recent was probably a bad way to say that. The emerald was taken right before the ruby, and we did believe that Baba Lysaga took it. It would point to it being here in Perez.
Then we're close. We need to find her. We need to get the stone and bring it here and destroy it. We have to free the Fanes. We have to free the Weaver.
She is a formidable enemy. Powerful witch. But perhaps hope is what matters.
We have to. We have to try. We have to free these lands. It's our destiny. Even if we fail, we know that we've brought hope to these people.
Baba Lysaga has long made her home in the center of Berez, a land forgotten by Barovia. Like the name of Strahd, you must not speak it outside of these stones. We are protected by the Weaver here. Beyond this ring, they can see us. If you find the house in the tree, you are close to her. If the scarecrows see you, she can see you. You must be weary.
Where's this house? The house in the tree, and what purpose does it serve?
It is her home. It's where she lives. All of Berez has long been leveled. It's destroyed. Nothing but ruins for hundreds of years.
And the witch, what? You said she's a witch. What are her powers? What have you heard of her?
I know very little of her powers. She is extremely powerful, and those who visit Berez never return. You would do well to reconsider searching her out. But if you insist, you must be weary of the greatest of magics. So just in the actual mud inside of the actual cairnstones, she's basically going to draw out the city of Berez for you all and effectively give you all basically the understanding that this is Berez. With essentially two different paths that kind of lead around the actual town itself. And then I think this is the old chapel. There's basically houses to the north end, and then houses in a more or less like central location right next to the river itself. There is yeah, I think that's like the general outline that she's able to give you. And basically, as far as the location of the actual treehouse, she essentially is able to give you that Baba Lysaga has made her home in this area. As far as things go, though, she really doesn't have any closer information as to where it is. Just essentially that it's essentially like just to the west of Berez, in particular. But basically, like, again, she's viewing from the cairnstones across the river to try to watch what is going on at any given point, with the understanding that she cannot be seen while she is within the cairnstones. There is perhaps no place that is safe to do anything in these lands, but the river itself, at this point in its delta, its deepest locations are 10 feet deep. It does not run strong. You can cross wherever you need to.
And of Burez, are these creatures the zombies that we've been facing, the old residents?
She's gonna nod her head solemnly.
So is it a safe assumption then that trying to stick to the outskirts and stay out of the main area would be a better way in, or are they just dispersed throughout these lands?
Many generations ago, when the people of Berez angered Strahd, his punishment was to flood the river Luna. Their people were washed away. Many of their bodies remain in the places that they ended up. They know only to feed on the living now.
How long can you stay inside these stones safely? I mean, if if we needed to, could we sleep here?
It is a potential place that you can sleep. It cannot be viewed magically, but that does not mean it is safe from all things.
Well, it's the safest place we've found so far. I It's already into the afternoon. I think if we seek out the witch today and we try and face her, we at least could, if we survive, we could come back here and rather than trying to go all the way back. If we survive.
Shall we go?
Before we do, I just wanted to ask, do you know anything more about the windmill? About about the huntress?
The huntress was a maiden of great prowess. Her fane is behind the old windmill, just below the view of Strahd's castle. It's long been cursed by the windmill. Cursed is the wrong word. That land should have never had anything built upon it. It was the first location where the creep of civilization turned this land against the people who it was for the longest of times. It was the first time the people of Barovia moved in on the land of the Druids and took what was before previously given.
And do you know anything of its current inhabitants, the sisters?
It has long been my task to watch this land. I do not follow much of what happens in that area. But I do understand that there are those who make their means with the sale of treats to those in Barovia. They are unwelcome in Valakai, and have long found themselves isolated to what remains of that village.
And before we go, we were present when the druids destroyed the ruby stone. Is how, if we got the stone and we got it here, how do we destroy it?
I have no means of performing such a ritual. If you all do not have the magical ways, you may simply have to search for the druids and bring them out of the mountains to do such things.
Yes. Perhaps we could reach them if we needed to, or they have some means of knowing. They know what we're up to, but if we succeed, perhaps they will know. Well, thank you. Thank you for your help, Muriel, for looking out for us. And hopefully we see you again. But we mean to find her to complete our quest. Or at least try.
So, do you all have a plan of attack in mind? What are you thinking?
Well, generally,
I heard generally, and then you cut out. Are you still there, Flea?
yeah, I'm here.
I heard you say generally, and then you cut out before.
We want to try to approach from the west outside of the city by stealth if we can, but we realize if we get saw by a scarecrow, the gig is up.
All right, so probably going to end up heading to the actual south here, and moving across the land as much as possible, and then you can cross the river further to the south.
Yeah, I think try our best to be like avoid extra unnecessary confrontation. Um, before we leave, while this was all taking place, have we short rested?
If you all want to take a short rest while you're there, you can certainly make that happen.
Well, I'm thinking like I'm at about half a little better. I don't know about anybody else, but I was thinking potentially, heal up and everything before we go. I'm assuming it's probably going to be pretty treacherous journey to her, let alone fighting her.
Yeah, so Kavi is just over bloodied. She can take healing. And Aragal, I think he lost like a 24. He's like at a little over 2/3.
All right, so Sarkis is going to start doing like a karate form, and then he will start like pulling like energy out of like the swamp air, in the form of like green glowing, and I will do hand of healing on Kabi. Flea, did you take any damage?
I don't believe Flea took any damage. So that's 16 to Kavi.
Oh, the first one was for her, the second one's for me, and then I'll do one more on her if she could take it.
She would have 7 more points after 8. How many do you have total?
I can do 6. I'm pretty much full. If Flea's full, I'm gonna do one more for Kavi, and then I'm gonna do the rest on Argyle.
My laptop battery died. Give me a minute to restart, all right?
Yeah,
Do you know, did you know, were you missing any hit points at all? Yeah, so that's
No, I'm good to go.
that's got Kavi 2 off of full. So with Kavi essentially full, you're essentially full with Sarkis, and Flea is full.
Yeah, I'm 5 off, so I just assume do like at least 2, maybe 3 on Argyle.
I think that'll take him to full. Was that 16, 22? Yeah, that's got him 4 off of full. So right now, with those 3, do you have any left right now?
Nope, that's it.
Yep, so you said you're 5 off, Aragol is 4 off, and Kavi is 2 off. And I guess I could load Jape, but I'm pretty sure Jape was full up since a long rest.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do 1 hit dice on myself, and then plus 1 from Kavi. It will put me at full because I was down 5. So I'm back to full. Everything is used, and I'm good once Al is good.
Al is at full.
Key has 4 hit dice remaining. Do you think she should use a hit dice to basically guarantee she's at full?
Yeah, I would say so.
And then Aragol has plenty of hit dice. Should he use a hit dice to make sure that he's at full?
How much is he down right now?
4.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be a bad idea to be fully healed up as best we can. But I would rather be overly cautious than dead.
Yeah, so essentially, moving in this area, you guys are making about 3 squares per 15 minutes. You can make 12 squares in an hour, moving with some level of stealth, basically. You've gathered overall, most of what you're trying to do is not to run into things and kind of put yourself immediately there. But you also are well aware that effectively there's quite literally living creatures or undead creatures that are buried inside of the swamp itself. So walking anywhere at any given point, you now know you can step on these creatures. But in general, heading towards the south, crossing the river, what plans do you all have for essentially executing that? Is the initial thought like do like an hour south and then cut across? What are you kind of thinking here?
Yeah, let's go south first and then cut it.
Can you guys see when I draw those arrows?
Yep.
I'm thinking something kind of like that, maybe. Like walk along the coast, cross over at that spot, and then kind of like basically dodge the city for the most part, kind of stay to the outskirts, and then hope that we just kind of find her treehouse somewhere around that 3600 area.
Sounds good.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, that's like perfect. And then assuming that's like a 3 or 4 hour trek, that would put us hopefully to her by like, if it's 2 now, like 5 or 6, something like that. So then potentially like, oh, go ahead.
Well, after a rest, you guys are going to be at 3 o'clock.
Okay, right. So yeah, so if it's 3 o'clock and potentially that's like roughly 3 hours, that puts us there about 6. Hopefully like an hour or so there, 3 hours back. That could potentially put us back here by like 10, assuming everything goes well. I think that's like pretty ideal. I also marked off my old torch and another torch, assuming that I'll have a fresh one for this next hour.
Yeah, like you guys did 2 hours, so you should have marked off 2 torches. This would be like the third in this session that you've used. So that little square is effectively the hour mark. So if you kind of go to the next square, that's like at an hour 15.
Maybe we should go like a little more direct.
I think that's 2, and then 3 with the circles. And then that's 4 hours at the next square. It's like 4.5 hours to like the second square that we drew on your chart. So like 5.5 hours to that little rectangle.
Yeah, what if we like trim it down a little bit, like so we don't do like quite that long. Like what if we just go straight across and kind of stick to like the top little island? Maybe a little more dangerous, but cut like a couple hours off the trip. Could you see that?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think prudence is important here.
Yeah, but we're gonna be like freaking exhausted if we spend an extra 4 hours traveling to try to be a little more cautious, like 2 hours there and 2 hours back. And that's assuming we can even get a long rest in here, assuming we survive.
Okay, I get it.
You know what I mean? I'm just thinking we've been traveling all day, and like at some point in time, we'll start bordering on exhaustion if we can't find a place to come back to or get back here before like whatever 12 hours. So I don't want to waste like too much time being cautious.
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like if I drew those correctly, and I'm not saying that I did, because some of them do look a little bit off. I feel like the third set is definitely a little bit short. But that's 5 of the pink squares, which would be 5 hours to there. And I think the 5 hour mark was the rectangle that's right below that pink square. It's 15 minutes behind on the wide mark. Because I said 5.5 hours to the rectangle that's right above it. And I think that's part of the problem of Gygaxian corners is that going that much further south doesn't mean it's not necessarily a pretty similar time frame.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. I mean, if it's only going to save us an hour each way, it doesn't seem worth it to not just be cautious.
Because what is it? It's 150 feet, 15 minutes. So it's 50 minutes every, or 5 minutes every 50 feet. So you're looking at 600 feet per hour, basically. You know, if you go straight to that square, it's 2,500. So it's, what is that? 4 hours, 15 minutes, basically straight there.
Yeah, I think do what Please said. Take the long route and be more cautious. Better to arrive there in better condition and be like full power, hopefully, when we get to her.
Now, maybe cutting off a little bit from like one of the western points, maybe that could be a little bit prudent. 3370. Yeah, I mean, that saves you 300 feet to cut out that westernmost corner. But that, again, that's kind of like the Gygaxian geometry of it. When you take diagonals, you're saving all of the actual hypotenuse. That saves like 400. It's like almost 2 hours. Or not 2 hours, 45 minutes kind of thing. To just like make a circle of it almost.
That sounds good.
So in general, just kind of sticking to the idea that you're just trying to move south while you actually move westward. So we're going to go for a southwestern. And then you guys can kind of decide when you feel safe enough to do the bulk of it, where you are starting to go in general west. And then let me know when you're looking to start to progress northwest. And I think that kind of solves a lot of like the general idea what we're going for here. So that's just like the first 15 minutes of your movement. You all can just start to swim out into the actual water here. The actual process of swimming is no different as far as your movement goes to trying to wade through the actual muck of this mire. So in general, you're still moving that same kind of general pace. Nobody's wearing like heavy armor where you're really suffering through the actual mode of this. But you guys can progress forward. Nothing really seems to be happening. You don't seem to have any scarecrows nor any zombies on you. Let me actually get survivals from the two of you. I guess really it doesn't even matter. Flea has keen mind, the actual directions of things. He doesn't really lack for directions. So another 15 minutes swimming goes by. You all are more or less in what would be the only place that actually kind of has a current in this river, a little bit towards the center of it. You feel a little bit of a tug to the southeast. You know, like in general, this is again kind of like a delta of the river where it's kind of like opens up just into this swamp and the water starts to really disappear. But in general, crossing the river slowly, you don't really see anything along the banks or anything. There are, what is it? Yeah, it's still like 300 feet to the actual like city at large, but so about 45 minutes in, you all are getting pretty good to the south. Are you still looking to continue southeast?
I think going east right there looks pretty good. Sticking to the purple.
Yeah.
So starting to actually swim for the banks. Everything's looking good for you all, making good progress across this. Everything's calm enough. I think at this point you're looking at like 4:15. I think that was a solid hour to that one. Nope, this is the hour mark, so this is 4. Making your way towards the banks. Let me get perceptions from y'all. Kind of trying to spy out the banks ahead of you all. In general, at this point, you're looking at pretty open land. This is just swampland. On the actual like land areas themselves, you see a lot of signs of the growth of this actual land, the signs of death of this land. This is very much like a verdant, reclaimed forest at this point, and you can see very clearly the trees that are the old growth that are quite old, and the trees that have kind of reclaimed it in the new time that already look like very strong forests. And then underneath, there's just that very natural blend of old fallen logs and fallen trees that just kind of sit there and rot and grow like lichen. But in general, you're seeing pretty good clearings at this point, and you're more or less doing a good job being able to avoid everything. Moving up towards the coast, you're starting to get to the point where you're doing less swimming and you're starting to actually walk into the mud. Are you all still interested in taking land at this point?
I mean, if we're moving the same speed, I think we could just keep swimming through there because we have less likelihood of running into shit. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm good with that.
So just kind of swimming along the river there. In general, still avoiding the actual land. Everything's kind of still going well. Moving forward without any issues at all. And kind of keeping to the same. You all are able to move forward. Nothing really bothering you at this point. Just kind of moving through this like eerie swamp. And I think that's 5.
Sarkis, do you want to stick to the water until we're ready to start heading north?
We could. We're making pretty good time. I mean, we've encountered zombies in here, but never any of the scarecrows. So, and I feel like they're more dangerous. So maybe sticking to the water is not such a bad idea.
Yep, sounds good to me.
So about 5:30, as you all are swimming, right about at the same time, Aragal and Jape are both going to bump into something as they are attacked by zombies. So this is going to be on Aragal. Those will miss, and then one on Jape. And those as well will miss. So roll initiative. What would you like to do, Flea?
Double dagger attack.
Both of those are going to hit 18 and then 4 more for 22. Looking rough. What would you like to do, Sarkis?
I will go for the same one.
So that attack's going to kill that one, and then you can move on to attack the next. So that's going to leave the second one in rough condition. It's going to swipe out at... it's going to swipe for Sarkis. So 2 claws. One of those should hit and a bite. 18 hits. So it's going to do 7 slashing. I don't think the kind matters. And then 4 piercing as it bites. And then Flea, go for the kill.
Yes, sir.
Um, 13. Yeah, that first dagger's enough that it'll kill it.
Come on, we got to keep moving.
So, crossing over about 6 p.m., you guys are starting to move up this smaller branch of the river as you're kind of following it along and still moving along in the water there.
Yeah.
Progressing forward with another half hour, moving along and up the river. Are you all interested in kind of continuing in that northwestern position? Do you want to continue west and go north like in one follow swoop?
What do you think, Sarkis?
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good.
The west to north?
Yeah.
So that puts you all at about 8 p.m., progressing forward without too much interruptions at that point. You are inside of I shouldn't have actually skipped over all of that. All right, so 7:30 here is when you all are starting to move north. You are coming upon some of the actual ruins of this land. Let me get perceptions from you all. Alrighty, so you all can see a large ruined foundation to the northeast of you, as well as a smaller, what seems like almost a crypt to the northwest of you. Probably about 300 feet away to the smaller crypt. And the ruined mansion is probably about like 100 feet away. Or the ruined foundation is probably about 100 feet away. What do y'all have in mind as you're starting to see some of the structures of the city?
What was the second thing you said we saw? A crypt and what else?
Like a ruined foundation, probably around like 100 feet away from you all to the northeast. And then a small crypt that is to the northwest of you all, probably about 200 feet away.
Looks like some kind of crypt up ahead. That's where they keep the bodies. It could get pretty bad here.
Yeah, let's avoid that.
We've done well avoiding the scarecrows, so probably not a bad idea. Try to stay as stealthy as we can.
Yes. Let's keep moving north.
Yeah, so I think try to avoid the crypt, but most importantly, be like stealthy.
So yeah, you guys can roll stealth checks here and try to move forward. So more or less moving just beside to the west of the ruined foundation. You all are able to progress forward a little bit. The crypt itself is probably 150 feet away to your northwest. The foundation is just to your east. And probably just starting to see that there's signs of life in this area for among the first occasions. There seems to be some sort of a structure just beyond the foundation to the east of you all, and it appears to be a goat pen. Seems like there's some goats inside of the pen itself. The pen is one of the few things you've seen here besides that crypt that actually resembles an actual structure. Um, and that's probably about the same, about 150 or so feet away from you all to the northeast.
That's unexpected. This is some of the first signs of life we've seen in all day, and uh, that appears to be domesticated. Survivors? I I don't know. What do you think, Flea?
Somebody for sure. The question is who, and good or bad. Want to go check out around the goat pen and see if we can track back to where the owners are?
Might not be a bad idea. Perhaps they could point us in the right direction of the treehouse if they're friendly.
Let's go with stealth.
Let me get another round of stealths from y'all. So as you start to cross over the foundation, for the first time in a while, you feel a sensation of the wind in this place. And this is one of those moments where not only is it odd to feel the wind, it's more odd to recognize that there wasn't wind in this place. That the hairs in your flesh were not moving, that this place really is stagnant in many, many ways. And as the wind kind of howls, I guess really, Flea, you probably wouldn't even pick up that there's an extra voice in your head, because there's too many voices in your head. Sarkis, you're definitely going to feel like you hear a voice on the wind.
Can I tell like what it's saying or anything?
For what it's worth, it's realistically, this is just wind. There's not anything being said to you. You can roll intelligence. You've got an odd sensation that perhaps there is a restless spirit in this area, and you've almost kind of like woken it up with your presence inside of this building.
Okay, I'll just kind of like whisper that to the party then. I've got a bad feeling about this. The hairs on my arm are tingling. I thought I heard a ghost. Careful.
Okay, let's keep moving stealthily.
So do another round of stealths. So as you all get closer to this goat pen, and you start to see that there's a large group of goats. There's approximately 9 goats inside of this pen. You notice that the pen is constructed of bone, and they are lined with humanoid skulls. And there's about 100 skulls that surround this pen, and they just all look outward in all directions.
And are we close enough to see the actual goats? Like, do they look alive and normal and everything?
Yep, there's goats standing on top of other goats, goats standing on top of hills. Everything about the goats themselves seems pretty normal. You could do an animal handle. Yep, they seem like normal goats to you.
I think we're coming close to that time when we need the rest of the party.
Yes, I'm definitely getting a sense of danger. And Stark is like, take a couple deep breaths, and you'll just kind of hear him say under his breath, I never thought I'd say this, but I miss doing goat yoga.
You watch as one of the goats actually poops on top of one of the other goats that it's standing on.
Should we just keep moving? Maybe this is her food.
Yes, but stealthily.
So from the goat pen, where would you like to head?
I'm gonna like look around for any kind of like tracks or anything. Are there any footsteps? Does it look like any goats have been like led away from this towards another region or dragged, perhaps?
Do an investigation. Like you're gonna do this while you guys are at the goat pen, I'm assuming.
Yeah, just kind of peeping around the goat pen, to
Are you-
see, like, assuming basically what I'm thinking is, if this is someone's potential food supply, they would either kill a goat or lead a goat back to wherever they're at.
Are you walking around the pen circumference?
Uh, I would say I am trying to observe without being like too close to them that I would alert them. but I would say at least doing like a semicircle as we pass by.
I think I'm going to call for 3 different checks here. You got the investigation down. Let me get a stealth check from you, and then a perception.
Hey, the big one.
So, yeah, right. 2 doubles in a row. That's always great, but the double 20 is pretty amazing. So, as you are going around this pen, as you get towards the northern end of it, you do in fact see that there are a couple of scarecrows standing in the uh, trail of sorts, a couple of 100 feet away from you, but like 150 or so feet to the northeast, and you're able to spot 2 different scarecrows. So moving any more to the east, and you're going to start approaching the scarecrows. At present, you still don't really see any where you're at, but that's just something that you kind of pick up there. Investigating around the goat pen, you do spot that there's no tracks on that western side. But of course, you could investigate around the whole thing if you would like to. But just looking around the western side of the pen, there's no tracks. But there's one other thing that you pick up. There's not actually a gate on this pen. This pen is simply just an enclosure. There's no way in, no way out.
And like, does that seem weird to me? Like, how high are the walls on this pen? Does it feel like somebody could just step over it or reach in and take a goat? Do I feel like they would have to teleport goats like out of there?
I mean, you could hop up on top of the pen without any problem at all. The goats could probably hop up on top without any problem at all. But yeah, in general, it doesn't really seem to be anything other than like this actual just enclosure. But it's not especially tall. It's doesn't seem like it's especially difficult, like to climb or anything.
Yeah, I got you. It just comes off fishy to me that the goats are actually in the pen if they could easily escape it. Okay, I will point to like towards the scarecrows and put like 2 fingers up to show them that there's like scarecrows that way, and then I'll do like a slow throat slitting gesture, and then I'll point in that direction too, um, trying to signal that like danger is that way. And that was like kind of like maybe like 2 or 3 squares from where the token's at right now, like to the northeast.
No, it's like 6 or 7. It's like 150, 200 feet away.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. But it looks like there's definitely a path there too. So that's
Yeah, exactly.
leading towards her is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you can basically, and also between this and like the drawing that you got from Muriel, you can pretty well surmise that the actual path in to this land goes to there, and the northern path comes around to here. That was the path that she kind of drew, where this place is kind of like almost like a pea pod. Um, this is like the convergence of those roads, and that's where you're seeing scarecrows. Stop measuring to that hut. That hut is not there.
So I am thinking without measuring to the hut, that was not me, that we circle around like north and then like west and try to like circle back towards like I'm thinking that that clearing above us is where we're going to try to get to, but avoiding the scarecrows. like up into this region. That's what I'm thinking. But obviously, we know the path leads up here. So without obviously knowing that hut's there or whatever, I'm thinking that we're basically going to try to circle to like this area right here.
So you all can back away from the hut, start to move further up to the northwest, and kind of put that grove of trees between yourselves and the scarecrows, avoiding the actual foundation of those rooms. You're able to start to move forward, and you see another ruined foundation to your northwest, and you actually start to see that there is an old cordoned off area, and there's the remains of some headstones. That this is probably the ruins of the church.
Okay, I'm going to let the party know, or just kind of converse with them. We must be getting close. There's the first signs of scarecrows. You keep your food or whatever else you do with goats close to you, but not too close. There were two paths. Looked like they converged around where the scarecrows were at. We're close. I can feel it.
Let's keep going north.
Yes, I agree. We should be very cautious, as observant and stealthy as possible.
Do another round of stealth. So as you all come up alongside of the ruins of the cemetery, looking around the general swamp in this area, it seems like you're approaching where it's getting deeper again, almost getting more and more into destroyed land. Perhaps the initial area where you crossed over the ruins and moved towards the goat pen was among high ground in this area. So you're going lower as you look forward and as you progress forward to the north. But as you enter into this clearing, you're going to start to hear the caw of crows off in the distance. Hard to tell how far away, but you all can do perception checks.
Where does it look like the high point is around here?
The ruins behind you. That ruined foundation by the goats.
Okay, thanks.
Sarkis, can you do a perception, or was that the 819 from you?
Oh yeah, mine came in right before yours. The 819.
Okay, word. Yeah, I had to do Kavi because she's got advantage with hearing, so doing a hearing one, I had to give it to her. Yeah, so I think listening off that there seems to be ravens. Yeah, ravens off to the northeast is kind of what you all are picking up, and it's hard to really get an estimate of how close you are to it. But this is a weird sound for you because up until now, this place has had a lot of natural sounds. It's had bugs and things like that that you've smelled or that you've like heard like buzz of, but this is like a murder of crows. But you don't see anything flying around in the air.
Does it seem like they're yelling at us? Like that they see us and they're making noise? Or does it just seem like there's noise coming from that direction? Like, you know what I mean?
Make an insight check. You just stepped out of a little bit of tree cover into a little bit more open of an area of swamp, as you're kind of walking beside the cemetery there. You're in a land where you know Baba Lysaga protects her area with scarecrows in particular because the keepers of the feather are afraid of them, and you're hearing the birds cawing off. I think it's safe for you to make the connection that they might be communicating with you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like crows are our allies. Like, and that she hates crows, which is why the scarecrows are like filled with bird feathers, and obviously to scare away the birds. So I'm going to try to, I think, signal or move towards the crows. Um, that's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking, Al?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So let's get another round of stealth here. So, as you all progress a little bit to the northwest, or in the northeast, you are moving slowly forward here. You start to notice that you're coming up to an actual pool inside of this swampy area, where it's becoming like a deep bog, and there's not really ground to step on further forward, when all of a sudden it appears that Flea has stepped onto a fallen gravestone, and beneath his feet you hear this crack as the gravestone splits beneath his feet. Let me have you all do perception checks as everybody freezes and just halts at this loud sound of the stone cracking. So, as you all stop and hold your position, when you look forward to the east, right around the edge of this lake, there's a scarecrow about 150 feet away from you. When you look to the north on the other side of this lake, there's the scarecrow about 150, 200 feet away from you.
Is it safe to assume they have saw us?
Roll an insight. As you hold yourself still, try to watch, and you just stare at this thing. Either it's not reacting to you, or that's an actual scarecrow.
And from where we're at now, where would the crow calls be coming from?
They're still coming from the northeast of you all. You have a vague sensation at this point, probably they're roughly within that like next set of trees off to the northeast of you all.
Okay, so obviously we have a pretty good idea of where this like line of scarecrows is, just like perspective wise. So are you saying that the crows are on the east side of that line?
Yeah. From that sensation. Oh wait, I'm not actually showing this to you. I was on the GM overlay. My bad. I switched over to show the scarecrows and then drew that circle to show you. So that circle is kind of what you're thinking. The crows are somewhere inside that like group of trees up there, before you actually get into the ruins of the town, which is kind of northwest of it there. You guys can kind of see some of the actual ruins up there just beyond that circle. So you're starting to get the feeling that the crows are somewhere inside of that circle.
All right, so what I'm thinking now is if you put up like a wall of scarecrows, it's to keep something out. Like keep something away for sure, but to keep something out. So I'm kind of getting the impression that we're like behind enemy lines right now. So my inclination would be that we need to go into the heart of the city more, like along the pass. But at the same time, if I was going to put up scarecrows, if I was like putting them in a perimeter, I would put them around my stuff, which makes me think that we're already inside of the perimeter, if that makes sense. Like we're already in enemy territory.
i.e., the crypt.
Yeah, maybe, or at least somewhere where we're at. Because what I was thinking is, I was thinking that we were circling around behind it and that we were going to need to like travel into, like along the road towards, either the main area to the east or northeast. But now I'm getting the idea that we have somehow ended up in the area that's being protected. So, like the area where we're at now, and like south of us, obviously, is the goat pen. So, I'm sort of getting the idea that this area we're in is like in her shit. And that those scarecrows are the perimeter around it. Like that maybe we didn't notice, but there would be like more of them south of the goat pen. And that like this is her little like semicircle that we're inside of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a distinct possibility. I think at this point we need to kind of hold tight for next week. I mean, it's basically 10 o'clock anyway, and have the full group because I think stuff's about to get deep. What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm definitely thinking, and again, that's just my rationale. But I'm lightweight thinking that we're like inside. Can you guys see where I drew it on brown right there?
Yeah,
Yep.
I get it. I get it. And the question is, do we go outside to come back in, or do we just head towards where we need to get it on?
Well, like you said, I lightweight think the crypt is where she might be at. Like I know see. Originally, she said the tree house is near, and then it seemed like she said the tree house is where she lives. So I don't know if the treehouse is just something close by and then like we would find her, or if she literally like lives in a treehouse. Um, but I definitely get the impression that we are behind enemy lines right now. That we somehow made it past what would have been like more scarecrows to the south. Now I could be wrong on this, but just the fact that the crows are outside the scarecrow perimeter and the goats are inside the scarecrow perimeter theoretically, or else vice versa, it doesn't really make sense. If the crows are in the scarecrow perimeter and she's like northeast of us, then what the hell is the point of the scarecrows? And if the goats are outside of it, well, how does that make sense? So I feel like we're in the shit right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of.
Yeah, that's what's up, though. I mean, obviously, this is a good stopping point anyway. But yeah, I totally agree. I think somehow we actually got behind enemy lines.